Join the pledge.
Fruit of self-control will be displayed throughout each and every one as the different issues are presented and discussed, and that you would grant the officials the wisdom and knowledge to handle all the issues presented properly. We ask that all decisions are made for the good of our fellow brothers and sisters over our own. We ask that after this meeting, everyone in attendance has a day of rest and peace today, always maintaining unity. All these things we ask in Jesus' name. Amen. To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence.
Good morning again. Councilmember Penn and I both have a resolution and a proclamation to recognize a woman who has meant so much to our community. She died recently, and I'm sure a lot of you will recognize her name, and I believe her sister is here. We are here to speak about Claretta Blackman. Is her sister here? She's going to join us. Okay. And we appreciate you being here with us. Is that Ms. Bacon? Whereas Claretta Blackman, a longtime resident of Mobile, born August 9th, 1939, departed this life on Wednesday, February 2nd, 2022. And whereas she is preceded in death by her parents, Frank, Lancy M. and Thomas, and the father of her children, Arthur Blackman, and whereas she was a member of the Hillsdale Presbyterian Church and was active in the state and national levels of the Presbytery, and whereas Ms. Blackman was a graduate of Wayne State University in Detroit, where she earned a Bachelor of Science degree, and in the 1980s, she began managing her family's newspaper business, the Mobile Beacon. And whereas Ms. Blackman leaves to cherish her memories, her two children, as well as her grandson, and a host of other relatives and friends. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Gina Gregory, Vice President, along with the members of the Mobile City Council, do hereby extend with personal sorrow to the Blackman family our deepest sympathy and heartfelt condolences.
Good morning. This month we celebrate Black history, and the Mobile Beacon represents that history. It is the oldest African-American newspaper in the state of Alabama for nearly 80 years, whereas in 1943, Frank and Lucy Thomas Jr. established the Alabama Citizens in Tuscaloosa, Alabama with a $150 loan, circulating over 10,000 papers in its first decade. And whereas in 1954, the Thomas family moved to Mobile and started a second publication, The Beacon. And in October of 1963, the two papers merged into one. And whereas the publication was the only way the Black community could obtain access to important information and resources, such as news on voting, civil rights, education, job, local events, war, and housing. And whereas the Mobile Beacon was instrumental in assisting the first African-American student, Ms. Lucy integrated into the University of Alabama and has provided readership material to Mobile County Public School System. And whereas the paper prints approximately 5,200 copies a week and distributed across the country, whereas the Thomas family have garnered numerous awards and been inducted into the several of Hall of Fames for their journalistic accomplishments in keeping the African-American community apprised of vital information. Now, therefore, I, Cody Penn, Councilman member for District 1, along with the members of the Mobile City Council, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, February the 8th, 2022, as Mobile Beacon Day in Mobile, and urge all our citizens to join in with us in celebrating this momentous occasion. Thank you so much, Mobile Beacon.
Why don't we to get a photo first, and then we'll do a moment of silence.
Let's bow our heads right before they take their photo for 1 minute.
Miss Amelia.
Good morning. I am Amelia Bacon, and I would like to just respond to the proclamation and the resolution for just a second, please. I want everyone to know that this is a part of not only the Alabama history, but the city of Mobile's history. We were very blessed and are very blessed to have had such brave and courageous individuals such as the Thomases and the Blackmans to play a major role in the history of providing information and communications to the African American community. I thank you for this on behalf of the Blackman family, and I will make sure that they get it. Thank you.
Miss Amelia, before you leave the podium, Miss Bacon, before you leave, I want to tell you thank you. The first job I ever had as a middle school kid was delivering beacons and walking the streets and down the bay. They were 20 cents at the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The other little part of Black history that Mobile doesn't realize is that the first home of the beacon was at the corner of Cedar and Augusta Street downtown.
That's
before
correct.
they tore down all of downtown. And we went through urban renewal during those times. It was quite the operation. So again, thank you to the beacon for also providing jobs for kids like me back then.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Roll call, President Small,
Here.
Vice President Gregory,
Here.
Councilmember Penn,
Here.
Councilmember Carroll,
Here.
Councilmember Reynolds,
Here.
Councilmember Daves,
Here.
Councilmember Jones.
Here.
Statement of rules.
And good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's another good day in Mobile, Alabama. It's so beautiful outside compared to some of the rain that we have saw in the past week. Welcome to our Tuesday, February the 8th meeting. We do have council rules. The first rules are asking if anyone has a cell phone or any other type of electronic device. At this time, I ask you to put it on the off or the vibrate position. The off or the vibrate position. Even though mask is not required in this room, I ask if anyone is sick or you feeling ill, please exit the room and you can watch the meeting on the atrium or at home, okay? In the atrium or at home. Any person desiring to address the council must sign in indicating the resolution, the ordinance, appeal, or public hearing agenda item before entering the meeting. While addressing the council, the speaker must state his or her name and address. Any person desiring to speak to the council on a non-agenda item must contact the city clerk office no later than 2:00 p.m. on the Thursday prior to council meeting. The subject that he or she wishes to express and address must be identified and pertain to the city of Mobile business. Any person who has not given the proper notice to the city clerk office and wishes to speak on a non-agenda item would not be allowed to address this council. Each speaker is allowed 3 minutes to address the council. A bell will sound to indicate the end of 2 minutes. 1 minute remains for summarizing. The second bell indicates the time has expired. When addressing the council, there is to be no personal address to any individual council members. All statements are to be made to the chair, who will recognize any council member who wishes to respond. Now, I do understand there are some people out there that would like to speak about the homeless situation that is not on our agenda on today. Okay, if you want to speak about the homeless situation, as I read in our rules, you have to sign up by 2 o'clock the Thursday prior to the council meeting. Okay. Madam Clerk.
Approval of minutes of February 1st.
So move.
Second.
Been properly moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Madam Clerk.
Communications from the mayor.
Well, good morning. It's good to see everybody here. Appreciate you coming down. The first thing I would like to do is make a presentation of an award. So I'd ask Caden Reed, his grandmother, Miss Regina Williams, his father, Carl, and mother, Kayla, to please approach the podium, and we'll make the presentation at that time. And I think little sister Casey is also with them. One, two, got it. So this morning, it's my honor to present to y'all Caden Reed. Caden is 6 years old. And like many 6-year-olds that have family members, little sisters particularly, like Casey, you're told to take care of your little sister and watch out for her. You're also told as a child not to play in the streets. So one day during a family gathering, Caden happened to notice that his little sister had wandered into the street. So immediately he went into the street, picked her up, and started coming back out. And as he did, a car slammed on brakes. It was screeching to a halt. Caden was able to push his sister out of the way, but the car hit him, knocking him into the air, where he fell on his back and hit the back of your head. Is that right, Caden? Have I told it right so far? Right, you know? Okay, I just want to make sure I got this story right. Because upon reading that story, hearing in the media, I thought, gosh, what a great deal for a young child, you know, to do something so heroic. And at that time, he wasn't thinking about being a hero. But I think if any of us, if we think about that, this is an opportunity to put Caden on a pedestal as a hero to other children to make sure that they watch these siblings, but they also understand that they shouldn't play in the street. So my presentation today, I have several. I have a certificate that I'm going to give him. And Caden, this is what it says. The certificate reads, I hereby officially award the Exceptional Citizens Award in recognition of his bravery and heroic efforts done on this 8th day of February in the year of our Lord 2022 and the 320th year of the founding of the city of Mobile. So Caden, this medal, there are not many people. Matter of fact, there are no 6-year-olds that have this, okay? I can assure you of that. So if you'll step right over here, I want to turn around to mom and dad, turn around to your grandmother and sister, and I'm going to, if you'll lean your head forward, kind of lean your head forward, I'm going to put this on your neck, and do that, and then look at the camera, okay? So, Kate, I want to congratulate you. So I have another. He told us earlier he wanted to be a fireman, but I'm not so sure he doesn't want to be an entertainer of some sort. But Caden, here is a book that's written. It's called A Kid Who Changed the World. It's written by Andy Andrews. And I want you to call me after you've read this because you're one of those children that have changed this world, okay? And because, Casey, she was really wanting something in my office. And so, Casey, I've got something for you that says, "Good night, Mobile." Okay? All right. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
I believe I saw on the news that he's a pretty good speaker. Can he just address the council and just tell us hello?
So can you pull your, is it okay if he pulls his mask down? Yeah. So can you come up, walk up right there? What do you want to say?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Mr. President,
Yes.
Caden, you know, I've spent a lot of time in a lot of dangerous situations. And there's two types of people in this world, those that run from danger and those that run towards danger. And as the mayor's already spoken to, that's not something that you predetermine. It's something that's within you. It's a spirit of who you are. And you have proven that you, regardless of any danger to yourself, will run to danger to protect those that you care about. Thank you for that. To Mom, thank you. Because that says a lot about who you are. When you raise children that care more for the others than themselves and are willing to put their lives in harm's way to protect others. Caden, I want you to stay in touch with us, and I want to see what you grow up and do, because I think the world is going to be so much of a better place because you're in it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Caden is definitely the hero, but I'm not so sure about KC. She was wanting to make sure that she was recognized as being the hero's little sister. And if it hadn't been for her, he wouldn't be a hero. So I think I got that message up in my office. Last week I had an opportunity to visit with the Mobile Fire Rescue graduation, which is always a very gratifying ceremony to see young men and women who have been inducted into the fire department after 20 weeks of rigorous training. We actually graduated 22 people. 19 of them will work for the city of Mobile. Doing a favor for some other jurisdictions, we allowed 3 others to join on that training. It's something that we do from time to time because our neighbors also need to have firemen who are trained, and we have the best training opportunities. This Wednesday, we're going to have a ribbon cutting ceremony, opening of Stotts Park, and we'll be highlighting the renovations of the new pickleball courts. Pickleball has certainly become a fad over the last few years, and we're glad that we'll be cutting that ribbon. But also, I can just say, for those who are pickleball enthusiasts, we have a lot that we will be doing in the way of new construction and taking existing tennis courts, converting them to pickleball courts over the next three years. On Friday at 1 o'clock, we'll be opening Mardi Gras Park in time for the first parade. We're very fortunate that the Heron Chandler Foundation made a large gift to help pay for or defray some of the costs for that renovation. So that'll be at 1 o'clock this Friday at Mardi Gras Park. We'll start that celebration with the second line beginning in front of Government Plaza. Actually, the second line, I think, begins at 1 o'clock, and then we'll work our way to the park. The last thing I would like to address has to do with redistricting. Since the beginning of the redistricting process, using our third-party consultant and the GIS team, which actually began in November, we've focused on a transparent process and achieving consensus. We had our first meetings with city councilors on January 11th to gain their input. We've now hosted community meetings on redistricting in districts 2, 4, 6, 5, and 7. Tonight is District 1 at the Dumas Wesley Community Center at 6 p.m. Our last community meeting will be in District 3 tomorrow night at the Christ Temple Apostolic Church at 6 o'clock. As required by law, I will be submitting a proposed map to the City Council by the end of this week. I want to thank all the citizens and community leaders who have weighed in and taken the time to express their concerns and give us their opinions and ask us questions. We have valued the input of each and every one of you. So thank you for participating in this process. The most current version of our draft map is 2.7. Of note of this version is that we have been able to achieve over 50% black voting age for District 7, which now makes 4 of our 7 city council districts majority black population as well as majority black voting age. We encourage the citizens to continue providing us with feedback to attend the final 2 community meetings as we draw this to a close. So thank you very much for your participation. And that concludes my remarks. Oh, excuse me. I want to call on Jim DeLapp to present awards for the public service awards.
Thank you for the council and for all in attendance. We'd like to recognize 3 employees this month, our employees of the month. For our Parks and Recreation Department, we've got Marcus Roberts, who works in our Parks Department, and our Public Services Department, Mr. Charles Lee, and our Sanitation Department, and finally, our Public Works at Large in our Traffic and Engineering Department, Cedric James. So I'll turn it over to our Parks Department, who's going to talk about Mr. Roberts.
Hey, good morning. My name's Alan Reed. I'm the supervisor for the Landscape Services Division of the Parks Department. I supervise Mark. He's a steady guy, easygoing, easy to supervise, and I would dare say he is has the best attendance in the city of Mobile. Always there. So thank you, Mark. Congratulations.
Just want to say thank you to everybody. Thanks.
If I get Jeff Dees to come talk about Charles Lee, please.
Good morning. Charles Lee. He's operator 3 in the trash department. He operates a knuckle boom truck at this time. Charles has been with the city for 24 years. He started off as an unskilled laborer. Within 5 years, he had moved up 3 positions. Charles also is one of our key personnel for he does training for the new drivers. He does training to train the employees on how to operate knuckle booms and other pieces of equipment. He's highly respected by his co-workers and his supervisors. He volunteers for city events, such as doing Mardi Gras parades and the football game parades. He always has a great attitude. He works well with everyone. Charles is always smiling. He was also part of the team that received the November 2020 award as the Public Works Champion by Mr. DeLapp. Charles Lee.
And lastly, finally, we'll have, let's see, who we got? Ms. Jennifer White's going to talk about Cedric James in our Traffic Engineering Department.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to introduce Cedric James, who's been employed with the city with 27 years, 23 in traffic engineering. And during his time, he has worked his way up to our supervisor position, and he's our lead supervisor in the department now. And he still works, even after his promotion, he still works side by side with all of his crews, setting an example and acting as a mentor to the younger members. He teaches them everything from roadway striping to installing signs to placing the barricades out for Mardi Gras. So he has done just about every bit of work there is to be done in traffic engineering. He sets an example of hard work, courtesy, and teamwork to his employees. And Cedric is one of our Mardi Gras team leaders. This is his first year overseeing the department for Mardi Gras. He oversees the placement of the barricades along the route, works every parade, and then returns downtown to normal after the season is over with. So this will be the most rested you see him over the next month. as Friday starts his full-on initiation into the main traffic engineering representative. Cedric, it's my pleasure that you're the Public Works at Large Employee of the Month for February.
Just want to say thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Yep, that
And
concludes my remarks.
before everybody leaves, I want us to give a round of applause, a standing ovation for all of these employees.
Adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Agenda is adopted.
Appeals, we have requests for a waiver of the noise ordinance on April the 30th in Dodge Center parking lot, February 19th on Dolphin Street, February 27th, St. Anthony Street, March 1st on St. Anthony Street, I'll take that one separately. March 18th through the 24th in Bienville Square, October 22nd in Cooper Riverside Park, February 12th in Medal of Honor Park, April 30th in Medal of Honor Park, May 28th, the Performing Arts Pavilion at Langen Park.
To the clerk on Bienville Square.
Let's bring it to the discussion. So move.
Second.
Been properly moved and second. Any discussion, Mr. Carroll?
Madam Clerk, on Bienville Square, I am going to state that the noise ordinance be in effect inside the park and that no sound shall leave the property line of the park for 1 week. We will allow the waiver inside the park only and that the noise shall stop at the property line.
I second that amendment.
And
There's a motion and there's a second. Any discussion? Mr. Jones?
yeah, don't we have to set a decibel level for that? Or can it just be any, I think it's harder to find no noise exceeding.
Just in line with the noise ordinance itself at 85 decibels.
Any other discussion on the amendment? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Going back to original. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes.
Okay, appeal, we have requests for a waiver of the noise ordinance on July 23rd in Crestview Park.
Move the table.
Second.
Been properly moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item table.
Public hearings. Today is the public hearing to fix costs for demolition of structures at 1567 Plover Street, 1025 Hannon Road, 2050 Stockton Drive, 1775 Pake Avenue, 4241 Furman Drive.
This opened up the public hearings for the said properties that were just mentioned by the city clerk. If anyone here to address any of these properties, you may do so by addressing the council at the podium above. If anyone present for these public hearings? If not, the public hearings are closed.
Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Eddie Irby.
Morning. My name is Eddie Irby. 1116 Richard Road, Mobile, Alabama 36618. I'm also the president of the 92nd Infantry Division, Buffalo Soldiers of World War II, the greatest generation to ever fight a war. Today we have with me, I'll let the other gentleman introduce himself, who's also my assistant.
All right. Good morning, Council, Mayor. Chief Jason Lewis, 803 Edward Street, Plateau, Alabama, from Happy Hill. And I'm proud to be here to represent this young man that sits here to my right.
Today, ever since we've had this group in 2005, I have been part of trying to make some recognition to it. A lot of times when you see me here, I have a Stetson on, and people say, well, you guys riding your horses in the parade? I said, no, we don't ride horses in the parade. When we be in the parade, which will be next year this time, we'll be in Jeeps, tanks, mounted with 50 caliber machine guns. Because we are the World War II Buffalo Soldiers. These guys have a stellar record. We was intended to have two of them here, but I have one here now. One of them wants to present a something that's going to be on the billboards and all over the city in about 2 weeks. And I'll put it out front when the gentleman up here. What we like for now is for Councilman President C.J. Small to come to the front because we have a presentation to make to him for the work that he has done. Because a lot of times when we needed flagpoles at Oaklawn Cemetery and any place else, we went to him first, and he was the first one to do what needs to be done. So this morning I have with me Mr. Taylor Howard. Mr. Taylor Howard was with the 370th Artillery Group. These guys towed a 155 millimeter cannon behind their trucks. And in September 1944, when the 82nd Airborne was trapped by 250 Germans with 4 Panzer tanks, they called on the 370 of the Buffalo Soldiers to take out the tanks and destroy the Germans. From 9 miles away, this man fired 4 shots, had his men fire 4 cannons, took out the tanks, ran the Germans away. And this man is, as of, what's his birthday? October the 13th, he was born October the 13th, 1918. Anyway, he's 103 years old now. Some time ago, C.J. Small called me when I made a presentation here. I got a call from his office. He said, look, we're doing a calendar on trailblazers. So can you have your guys come up? So I did. I got 4 of them to show up there. One man who couldn't be here today, because one thing I've learned with these guys, if they get up in the morning and say, I think I'm going to sleep to noon, they sleep to noon. And that's what happened to Mr. Abrams. Mr. Cleveland Abrams was supposed to be here, but he's not here. He sent, his son called me this morning. But Mr. Cleveland Abrams was with the 92nd Division, an expert shot. He was one of the men that Patton used when he had to take out the German officer, because Patton knew if you take out the officers, they weren't like the American soldiers. When the officer go down, somebody just step up. The Germans could not do that. They had to call back to Germany and get the okay from the Fuhrer to move forward. So he took him out. Anyway, Mr. Cleveland Abrams not here, but Mr. Abrams is 102 years old. He stays in McIntosh, Alabama. He has, I hope everybody's sitting down, 125 grandchildren. Now, mister, we're going to Yeah, these old boys weren't playing when they came back from the war. They had a lot of steam to let off. So, Anyway, when Mr. Small gave us this calendar, we put this calendar out, and one picture of these gentlemen right here went from Chicago to New York to California to Stuttgart, Germany, to France, Italy, and a couple other places. 3 days ago, I got a call from the French consulate there that they're sending a TV crew here sometime next month. And so the French Foreign Legion, Mr. Robert Curtis Andre in Mount Vernon, he'll be here. He is to receive the French Legion of Honor. When that happens, we will let everybody know about it because we'll have to have a big enough place for everybody to get into it. Right now, I want my 100-year-old man to present this plaque to C.J. Small. And once we get things together, we're working with the History Channel, my friend Lonnie Branch with the Smithsonian and some others, because this picture that CJ is going to get this morning is going to be on billboards starting in March. And sometime around Memorial Day, they'll be all over Mobile when we get a chance to come back again. So, Councilman Small, would you step forward, please, sir?
And just for the knowledge, I did not pay Mr. Irby to do this either.
Thank y'all so much. I get that. One more picture, Master Chief.
CJ, the mayor's coming up. I didn't know if you want to get a picture with him in there.
In the 92nd Infantry Division, 370th Infantry, 2nd Battalion, I'm originally from Choctaw County, but I served from the Mississippi area, but I'm proud that I have been a part of a struggle that has meant so much for the world. But now we are pursuing an area. All we can do for every human, making life better for everyone. Making better life, done what we could to make this a wonderful world.
We want to give this a small. He didn't know he was going to get this, but we just connected because he's one of those people who, when you ask him for something, he just say how much. So we wanted to make sure he got the first thing. So when you see these on the billboards all over the place, you'll know he's got one in his office, and we're going to make those available to the general public sometime in March. Thank you. All right, we got these calendars from CJ, so if you want one, we out of them. We had 100 of them, and they went. So you have to see him if you want one of these 2022 calendars with these men picture in it. Thank you.
And Mr. Irby, before you leave, we want to thank you as well for all that you do to support the Buffalo Soldiers, to keep them in our vision and to support everything that they do and all the different events that you all participate in. Thank you so much for all that you do, and thank you for coming. What a special, special recognition for Councilmember Small, and just thank you for bringing these gentlemen here so that we can hear them, listen to them, and they are just, wonderful people to be a part of our community. So again, just thank you so much for that.
Okay, thank you again.
Mr. President, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Irby, and, there's not enough words that the English language has in it to be able to say thank you. Because what y'all did in World War II changed the course of events to this day. And it was men like you that stood up and drew the line in the sand and said, I'm going to fight for freedom. The people you were fighting for were not Americans, but like you said, you wanted it to be a better world. Thank you for everything that you've done and continue to do on behalf of this city and this nation. Thank you. And Mr. Irby, thanks to you for putting this organization, keeping this organization moving forward, all the hard work and effort that you put in. I know what you do and appreciate you more than you know. Thank you all.
That picture, we call that picture the Magnificent Seven, because that Magnificent Seven represent Henry C. Williams of Plateau, Lee Dale Perry, my uncle who was in the 92nd, Booker C. Green, that was on Patton Avenue, James Burke, Plateau, Robert Serling from Mount Vernon by way of New York, and Douglas Diamond from Pritchard. So that's what we call our Magnificent Seven, along with this gentleman right here. So we are really grateful, and I'm great. And so I wish I was in World War II, but I couldn't. I was one of the baby boomers, so I'm only 75. I'm not up there, but it's a pleasure working with these guys, because these guys, the military, tell you when you're in that foxhole, your rifle is your best friend. This gentleman said when he was in the foxhole, God was his best friend.
Amen. Thank you all so much and everything. Thank you again. Mayor stated that he has a very important call at 11:20. He will be stepping out in a few minutes. Madam Clerk.
Our next speaker is Sabina Sahai with Discount Zone. And following Sabina is Dr. Claude Schufert.
Is Mr. Shaban Shagny present?
Yes.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sabina Shahi, and I'm here today to request some financial assistance.
Give us your address, please.
It's 158 North Broad Street.
And speak a little bit closer to the mic. Thank you.
So I've been running this Shell gas station business located at 158 North Broad Street for the last several years. There has been ongoing city construction on Broad Street last 2 years, starting on March of 2020, that has completely closed off the road where my business is located and severely limited traffic into my store. So when they started, it was only estimated to last like 6 months, but due to various reasons, it is still ongoing, to this day and has created severe financial hardship for me and my business. I have now received an eviction notice from my landlord after several months of already existing debt. And I have not able to pay my home mortgage since last 1.5 years because of no income from business. I spoke to the previous city councilor, Mr. Livon Manji, about the situation extensively and was hopeful of coming to the solution. Unfortunately, he sadly passed away soon after we had our discussion. I've been trying to get with current counselor, but I have not heard him back yet. That's why I'm here today to request City of Mobile some financial assistance in order to keep the business running. I've estimated approximately cost of $215,000, liability that have added up since the construction began. If I did not get any financial help, this situation, I have to shut down my business completely. So I hope the City of Mobile is not going to disappoint me and in this hard situation. I have attached all my loss report in this I have it filed in here. Thank you so much for your time and listening to me.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear about your misfortune. And you said that the counselor at District 2, Councilor Carroll, predecessor, you had spoken to. I'm going to turn this over to the city attorney. Is this something that you all can speak to her about?
Yes, sir. If you'll notice on the agenda that there's $2 million going to small business assistance through Commonwealth. And so as y'all approve that, my suggestion is that Jamie Roberts step outside and meet with her to see if the application that she can file can get her some assistance through that small business loan.
Mr. Roberts, could you ask him? You see the young man over here to my left raising his hand. If you can speak to him, and he can see by trying to address you and everything.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Madam Clerk.
Dr. Claude Shuford, and following Dr. Shuford would be Reverend Clinton Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. President, council members, mayor, the rest of the staff. I'm standing on behalf of Bishop George D. Crenshaw, presiding prelate of the Alabama-Florida Episcopal District of the African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church, which includes 200 churches from Mobile, Alabama to Huntsville, Alabama, and another 30 plus from Pensacola to Key West. Bishop Crenshaw is not
Let me just pause 1 second. Just give us your full name and your address.
Claude A. Shuford. And 112 South Bayou Street would be the closest AME Zion church for Bishop Crenshaw.
Thank you.
At 3 o'clock this morning, I rose to write a speech for 3 minutes, and I had 4 seconds left. When I was shaving, that speech changed today because I remembered the immediate past Sunday school's lesson, which was entitled Speaking Truth to Power. That's why we're standing, presiding Elder Tyus, presiding Elder Wilder, Wiley, and Reverend Sanford Davis, and others of the AME Zion Church, because we're concerned about the redistricting as well. Frederick Douglass, the great orator, once a local preacher in the AME Zion Church, said, "Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never has, it never will." We're hoping that we don't get to that point. We're believing that we've come farther than that, when now those who were the minority are the majority. What Jesus said, Matthew 7:12, these last 55 seconds, the King James Version, "As you wish for men to treat you, do ye even so to them, for this is the law and the prophets." Most of us go to church. It's a simple dynamic. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. little boy Cadence, the old vet, World War II vet, Buffalo soldier, as my father-in-law was. How about them having a fair chance? That's when they really get a hand. That's when they can really make a difference in the lives of their people and yours and everybody else. That's why we're standing today, to simply say, let's do the right thing. Let's do the Micah 6. Let justice roll down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. Thank you.
At this time, I ask if anyone has any type of electronic device, please put it on the off or the vibrate position, the off or vibrate position. The speakers are getting confused with your electronic device versus our city clerk. And the next, I'm just going to ask you to be dismissed from the meeting. Again, if anyone has any type of electronic device, put it on the off or the vibrate position, the off or the vibrate position. Madam Clerk.
Reverend Clinton Johnson, and following Reverend Clinton Johnson is Charlie Staten.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Clinton L. Johnson. I reside at 1101 Dunaway Drive here in Mobile, Alabama. Chairman Small, members of the Mobile City Council, to Mayor Stimson and his staff, I am indeed honored to have this opportunity to come and share with you just a few moments today. I was most privileged a week ago to have had the opportunity to sit down both with the mayor, Mr. Barber, and to have a detailed and intense discussion on this issue of redistricting. And I believe that we heard each other very well, and we are going to come to a conclusion that meets the desires and the necessities of the total community. But I do have a few things that I need to say today. The 2020 census requires that we move forward with the redistricting process for the city of Mobile, primarily because there has been a shift in the population. The minority has now become the majority, and the majority has now become the minority. In Section 1144C-90 of the Ziegler Act, which organized this body, the mayor is granted the sole responsibility for the redistricting process and presenting that to the Mobile City Council. That particular law does not include anything about voting age. It only deals with population. However, there are two things we are to consider under federal law. Under the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment, it addresses the necessity of one man, one vote. And therefore, as we look at the numbers in the city and consider the population, which is about 107,720 people, there should potentially be a division of 26,720 people in each district. There might be a small deviation from that number, and that's fine. But to what degree possible, there should be an equitable distribution of the population. However, Mobile's initial numbers, and I was glad to hear the mayor, that may negate my having to say anything. I'm pleased at what I heard. However, the figures that I remember is that the population in District 7 was projected to be 51.40%, and the voting age population would have been 47.68%. That, of course, would have been totally unacceptable because that would dilute the vote of the black community and would negate the rationale for redistricting. And so that is required, the voting age is required in Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. I'm delighted that the mayor has chosen to look at that act and to consider the voting age population in the distribution and redistricting of the city. It is our desire to move forward together, to advance the city together. We want to see Mobile prosper. We want to see Mobile grow. But we want to make sure that we are totally inclusive and we avail ourselves to the needs and the concerns of the total community. And I believe we're going to move in that direction. We will watch with a close eye to ascertain that that is, in fact, what we're doing. So I salute the council. I salute the mayor for what you've already done in anticipation of what you're going to do. And I thank you for the immense privilege that has been mine to come and share this moment with you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Johnson, former city councilman. here in Mobile, Alabama, one of the first African Americans elected on the city council. Thank you so much was the first one. And again, thank you so much for all your hard work you have done, Pastor Johnson.
Charlie Staten, and following Charlie Staten is Reverend Cleveland McFarland.
My name is Charlie Staten, 7400 Bowers Lane, Theodore, Alabama, District 4. To the President, the Council, and to the Mayor, it is indeed an honor as well as a privilege to stand before you today and extend my greetings as a member of the Democratic National Committee representing the great state of Alabama. In 1964, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "The time is always right to do what is right." Therefore, today, it is my sincere appeal to the mayor and to this legislative body to stand in this present age and do that which is right. History has shown us that through cost and conflict, that usurping the will of the people, skewing the numbers, and distorting its clarity will never stand the test of time nor limit the length of legal challenge. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me be very clear today. We are not living in an apartheid regime wherein pseudo-super minority gets to control or govern at the expense of a menial majority. But we live in a democracy wherein all men are created equal and endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights, and among those are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So let it not be said that the city of perpetual potential would rather hearken back to the days of Jim Crow and gerrymandering rather than embrace real progress and racial prosperity in 2022. This is an old debate, but the record is clear and the old account was settled long ago. The Voting Rights Act of 1965 clarified one man, one vote, and not just simply one man, no vote. Therefore, the question is really moot. You cannot fudge the numbers and fool the judiciary because the language is legible and the law is lean. Thornburg versus Jingles, Dillard versus Crenshaw, voter suppression and polarization, Bartlett versus Strickland, denying voter age populations, Baker versus Carr, Westbury versus Sanders, infringing upon one person and one vote would not stand, and it did not stand. And even Bolden versus the city of Mobile. This city was born out of a legal challenge that correctly concluded that three men from the same diluted demographics could not control a city without due process of diligent diversity, thus setting the stage for the present mayor and 7 city council. But we're living in ever-changing times, and the choir of the census is singing, and the melodies of the musical chairs are making its way around this city. So in conclusion, let us all dance together. For if we are to ever become one Mobile, let us indeed become one Mobile for real. The world is watching. May your integrity be your strength and your conscience be your guide. Thank you, and may God bless you.
Reverend Cleveland McFarland, following Reverend McFarland is Wesley Young.
Cleveland McFarland, 1525 West Carlisle Drive, pastor of the St. Peter Baptist Church. We now have just days left until the mayor presents his proposed redistricting map. So I'm here again pleading with the mayor and the city council to get this map right from the start by including the 4th district of the majority black voting population with at least 53% would make me happy. There are a few issues that will come before you that will be no greater than these issues that come before you now. So please, give this district the weight it really deserves. For almost a decade, we have heard one Mobile repeatedly, over and over again by this administration. But as you and I have already seen that the last few weeks, many of our citizens don't feel as though they are one Mobile. We feel as though we have been left behind. Our concerns, our needs have been neglected. We feel as though we have been disenfranchised. For years and years and years, only some of Mobile have been adequately represented. Here in this government plaza, now is a chance for all of Mobile to be represented. And when we do that, all of us will be blessed. When they are, their concerns, their priorities, their aspirations can finally get the same weight as those communities that have been represented for all of these years. All of us will benefit from it. Please, do the right thing. This is the right time. Mobile is the right place for our community and our city to go forward. Thank you.
Wesley Young. Following Wesley Young is Pastor Marvin Luke.
Wesley Young, 3058 James Street, Mobile, Alabama. I rise today to speak on redistricting. I've heard the mayor, as he related his proposals this morning, with the 4 districts in the city of Mobile, but the percentages kind of make me think that this is not proper. We can't have 51%, 49% people in the district and think we changed Mobile. That's a plea. That's a cop-out. We can't be fooled and be played on with our intelligence about these numbers. I'd like to request from the staff that the data that you all arrive with these numbers with be provided to the citizens so we can know where they came from. We don't have an idea. Only you have that idea. And when this proposal goes before this council, I already know what it's going to be like dealing with this administration. It's going to be for the beneficial of the administration. It's not going to be beneficial to the African American community. I'm not naive to think that will happen. We have to stop playing on people's intelligence and be real in this city. One Mobile been heard out through this city now for the last 8 years. One Mobile. I'm so sick of listening to that one Mobile. I don't know what
Ordinance.
to do. One Mobile would never happen in this city until everybody in this city realized that the African American community is just as important as any other community in this city. And until we do that, one Mobile won't exist. We won't get the Voting Rights Act done correctly. But what I suggest is this, and I'm not one to cut corners. I suggest we go in a court of law and let a judge make this decision, because you all would not make a decision that would reflect the African American community as a whole.
Pastor Marvin Luke.
Marvin Charles Luke Jr., lead pastor and proclaimer, Stewart Memorial CME Church, 1266 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue, 36603. Last week, I stood and shared that we were in need of surgery to remove the cancer out of the heart of Dixie that is plaguing Mobile. This week, I've come to tell you that I went back to relook at our policy, and it requires us to go to rehabilitation after the surgery. What does that rehabilitation look like? Many may think the attitudes and the sentiments and the expressions given by those in the gallery and in the streets of our city have caused discourse, have caused discord and division. But in actuality, in order for you to really feel better, it's got to hurt sometimes so that you can push through your reality and to get to where we are destined to be. We have the opportunity not just to rehab the city on this issue, but to rehab this state's mentality by doing what is right. And what is going to be imperative is not a black right, it's not a white right, it's an all right. Because of the fact we must we must decide today that yes, my skin is what identifies me, but it's not what makes me. Because I heard somebody say one day they wanted their 4 little children not to be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. District 1 has character. District 2 has character. District 3 has character. District 4 has character. District 5 has character. District 6 has character. District 7 has character. But if they are not recognized and represented the right way, character goes out the window. We can no longer afford to sit silent in these times of chaos and confusion. We must stand and speak and say what is right for one needs to be right for all.
Is that it? Is that it, Liz?
Catherine Flowers regarding the noise ordinance at 911 Dolphin Street.
Good morning. My name is Catherine Flowers. I live at 922 Conti Street, 36604. I'm speaking about the noise waiver for 911 Dolphin Street on February the 19th. Our property directly adjoins the 911 Dolphin Street property owned by the Infant Mystics Parading Society. From time to time, the venue is rented out for parties and weddings, and most have a live band. We saw on the agenda that the Maids of Mirth are asking for a noise waiver until 12 p.m. on February the 19th, next door to us at the Infant Mystic property. On the nights the bands play, our windows literally rattle. This affects the residential neighborhood that is a part of the old Dolphin Way Historic District. It's not in the entertainment district. It's in a neighborhood, a residential neighborhood. It affects Dolphin, Common, Conti, and Government Street especially. We want to be good neighbors. We would appreciate that the live music end at a reasonable hour, no later than 11 p.m. We've been to the council before and were advised that the council would be considerate regarding our concerns for the neighborhood. We hope that this council will be reasonable and grant our request. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. President, 2 things here. First, I'd like to offer a motion to reconsider the waiver of the noise ordinance at 911 Dolphin Street. Can I get a second on that?
So moved.
Got a motion been and then been second. Are we okay, Chris? In the discussion.
Mr. President, I'd like to amend the request for the noise ordinance and have the time of the noise stop at 10:30. Oh, okay. Yeah, have to reconsider. Vote on reconsider.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right,
Mr. President, I'd like to amend the waiver of the noise ordinance at 911 Dolphin Street, that it stop at 10:30.
Second.
And properly moved in second. Any discussion?
Mr. Carroll,
Yes,
Mr.
Mr. Reynolds.
President, I'm sorry. I believe she was asking that it be amended to 11. She asked for 11.
Well, Ms. Flowers, it is Mardi Gras season. Would you consider 11 o'clock?
Okay.
So be it, 11 o'clock, Mr. President.
Yeah, we do 11 o'clock at Bragg Mitchell a lot as well, and they're, right next door, so.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
Mr. President, being that there are no space on the agenda to speak to the redistricting, let me first say thank you to all the speakers that have continually come down here to support the neighborhoods, the districts that you live in, the churches, the organizations, and everyone that has been a vital part in trying to get us to this point today. I see Reverend Wiley from State Street AME Zion, who I haven't seen in a while. I think you're no longer in the city. Chief of Staff Shuford from Montgomery, Titus, and others from all over the city here up top, from District 7 and District 2 and Districts 1, of all the minorities that are here in this city today to help us get to a point to where we have never been before in the city of Mobile. I don't know if everyone heard the mayor today when he said that District 7, based on the reapportionment today, has a voting age now of over 50%. I believe we're somewhere around 50.6 or 51% versus 44%. So right now, compared to where we've been and where we come from, there's been a tremendous effort to get us to where the voting age majority in District 7 is the majority. Today, the administration has told us that they've gotten us to a point to almost 51%. I thought the magic number would be 52%. I'd love to see us get there. But in the glory of things, you know, we're on our way. Now, the truth be told is that we're on our way. We also have some work to do ourselves. We've got some voter education, voter registration, voter reclamation, a whole lot of things that we have to do also to go along with what's happening up here today. Now, it's not over yet. I mean, they have till, I think, the end of the week, next week, this week, to get us a final presentation of what the redistricting is supposed to look like. I myself know that there's already a 2.8 iteration that's coming out. It involves District 2 and District 3. Hopefully that'll be out sometime this evening. I don't know where we're going with everything else, but as of right now, I see District 7 as having a majority of minorities that are the majority of the voting populace out there right now. I mean, that's major. I mean, we are now over the 50% threshold and right at 51%. So be it said, as in the past, we've never been here before. We actually have an opportunity, if done correctly, to where we can maybe elect someone, black, of color, or other, because I'm sure that there are individuals out there that are not black, that are cherished, that may be elected anyway. But the thing is that we're on the precipice of having the ability to, and that is the ability to elect someone that is black that we have never had before. We simply have just asked that we have the opportunity to elect someone that is black. Now, we're close to that. We're very close. And the mayor has done his thing. Now, it's hard to get to the rest of the way because I've looked at it without gerrymandering. Now, we don't want gerrymander because, you know, there's been some other gerrymandering in the past. We don't want to crack. You know, we definitely don't want to get accused of stacking. But we have done something as a community that no other community has ever done in the city of Mobile, and that is to flip a city to where we actually have the voting majority down in 4 districts. I didn't see why it was so hard to simply ask for what's right. I've never had to bargain for someone to do what's right. You know, but as the good Reverend said earlier, power is never conceded without a struggle. So going forward with this, I'm hoping that the administration finds us a few more points to get us to a solidly 51, 52%, if possible, before you guys make your presentation to the council. And going forward, that knowing that we have other things to look at, and you guys have heard me say this before, at some point we're going to have to look at an annexation proposal. Whether it passes or not is something else. But we are going to have to look at the growth of this city. But I personally am going to look at the growth of this city in this way, that it is proportionate and not lopsided, so that nothing is diluted one way or the other, that we take in just as many as one ethnic group as we do the other. I am a black man from District 2, but I represent people, not one ethnic group or the other. And everyone up here represents people. And today, hearing what I've heard from the mayor, I am encouraged, that we're making another step towards Woodmobile. But I am also asking that we do what we need to do so that we can move forward in the best hopes of us in a total city. I'm not asking that you guys don't say or do anything, but I think we've made a stride to get to a point that we do have a voting majority in District 7. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President, if I might,
Vice President.
since so much of the discussion and the focus has been on District 7, and I happen to represent District 7 and have for the last 16 years, I just thought I might say a few words. I want to thank the mayor and his staff for all of the work that they have done. They have really done a yeoman's job in trying to put all of this together. It is extremely difficult to look at the total population numbers first and then try to make sure that the majority-minority districts are properly represented and properly balanced. I mean, that's difficult as it is, the way the population has moved westward. And then because District 7 is majority-minority and has been, we have to make sure that that balance is represented as well. Then you look at the voting age, and that's something that we have been able to do to bring the voting age to a majority-minority, and that was very difficult. We've all had to give, we've all had to get. Councilmember Penn and I have traded some areas in our districts. He didn't want to give up some, I didn't want to give up some, but we're doing it for the greater good. So I just want to thank you all for being patient with us, for coming down and speaking to us. I think it's important that we all understand where we are, that we all represent everyone in our districts. Just because I am a white woman from District 7 does not mean I don't represent everyone in my district. Same way all of these other council members represent everyone in their district. We are elected to serve everyone, and we all do it the best we can. So thank you for being here, for putting up with this, and I know it's been a long and tedious process, and you've seen us be a little tense at times, but we are here to do what is best for our districts, but most of all, what is best, and I got the timer, best for our city as a whole.
Mr. President.
Mr. Jones.
Yeah, and of interest, District 7 was a minority majority in August when you held your elections as well, because the census numbers had come out previous to that election. And I saw that misquoted in a news story saying this is unprecedented, that we will now have 4 minority majority districts after redistricting. The facts are we were at 4 minority majority districts when we voted in this last election. A lot of conversation on District 7, and I just want to lay out where we are as a city. The city total voting age population is 49.65%. Total in the city. It is 44.36% white, and it is 5.99% other. District 1 right now, the plan that I believe will come before us, the voting age population for blacks is 68.91%, almost 69% black. District 2, 61.56% Black. District 3, 70.92% Black. District 4, 32.81% Black. District 5, 41.77% Black. District 6, 25.88% Black. And District 7, 50.56% Black. So I think what you see, if you look at that holistically, is you absolutely got everything that you were searching for when we began this process. You talked a lot about the voting age population, and the law says give consideration to the voting age population. I think what you saw through this process is we did much more than give consideration to. We listened and we acted on that collectively, both the mayor's administration and the team, plus this city council working together. And I think the product that is before you is one that we would all agree. Everybody wins. Everybody has a voice. It's up to us to make sure that everyone's equally represented. And I believe that happens in our districts. So, Mayor, thank you. And hopefully this is something that y'all can get behind. All of us. I say y'all collectively. I hear a lot about one Mobile and a divided Mobile, and I've been saying the whole time we've got to work together. I think we've done that. We're there. We are well beyond the 49% voting age population represented in 4 districts, well beyond that status. So, Mayor, again, thank you. Thank you to my colleagues on the City Council.
Madam Clerk.
Reggie Hill regarding Resolution 09-118, 60-148, 21-146, 31-120, 121, and 122.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk. Before I begin, I'd like to join this body in offering condolences to the family, friends, and colleagues of Ms. Blackman. Like Mr. Carroll, I too had the opportunity to work with Mobile Beacon, and it was a part of my shaping as well. Citizens and stakeholders, greetings, Reggie Hill, 1007 Center Street. I rise today.
Hold on one minute, Mr. Hill. Let's stop this minute. If anyone just want to go ahead and exit the orders, you may do so at this time. Okay, sorry about that, Mr. Hill.
No worries. Thank you, Mr. Small. I rise today to address those items listed by the City Clerk, 09-118. Is there any information that has been provided to this body identifying who shall oversee the funds and exactly what these said funds are slated to be used for? This is dealing with the Aftertown project. 60-148. While I'm all for improving public safety, as it relates to traffic flow, I would like to see the same level of enthusiasm regarding the unlawful traffic citations being issued to residents in the city of Mobile as well. 2 weeks ago, I shared some vital content related to this matter with this body. I've heard no response as of now from this body, but I do want to express my gratitude for Director Batiste for taking the time to at least hear and listen to those concerns. I'm really appreciative of that. Item 21-146, has any information been provided to this body identifying how this coordinator intends to eradicate youth violence And what data or evaluations support the city taking ARP funds actually needed by other agencies with plans, that actually work to facilitate this line item. 31-120, I want to commend Mr. Jones for addressing this at pre-meeting earlier today. While this has shown up for weeks, he is the first member of this body to actually inquire about it. There were only 37 applicants, and we watched this body week after week amend ordinances, resolutions, and even budgets. So why with $2 million are we not doing everything we can to allocate resources for each and every single one of these applicants? I don't really understand that. This leads me to 31-121. Last week I asked how many organizations which already received performance contracts are selected to receive ARP social services funds. We still have no answer. Yet we are willing to basically finesse the people by adding a familiar name to the agenda item while these resources are actually intended for an entirely different group, entirely different organization. With $2 million available, each applicant would have received just over $50,000. Yet our groups with no proven data gets $260,000. How is this possible? Someone please help me to understand. Lastly, for today, 31-122. Yesterday, I visited with a small business owner who operates a convenience store in District 2. Simply put, how can small businesses gain access to these funds, and who is the point of contact? And also, please let's quit referring to the executive body alone to answer these questions. This is not the Mobile administration meeting. These items show up on the legislative agenda, and I hope you wouldn't be approving something that we're unaware of that's going before this body.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. And to correct you, pretty much the administration put this on our agenda and we approved. And I believe that the chief of staff gave you permission to go ahead and contact different offices to ask your questions and et cetera, and they can pretty much give you a whole lot more details. They're the ones that put on our agenda. And I'm glad that you said that Director Baptiste had got in contact with you. One or two of the questions that you had, Director Baptiste's name is on here, and the rest of Mr. James Roberts. So if you can just email them your questions and everything. And I'm glad you said that Baptiste did get back in touch with you. They get back in touch with you.
Mr. Small, since my name was invoked.
That's it, Mr. Hill. Thank you so much.
But my name was
That's it, Mr. Hill. Thank you so much.
If my name is invoked, I have the right to respond with Robert Rules of Order, sir.
Ordinance is held over. 64004, ordinance to rezone property located at 118 Kilmarnock Street from R1 to B2. 64005, rezoning property located at 117 North Catherine Street from R1 to B2. 64002, rezoning property located at 2621 Ralston Road from R1 and B2 to B2.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ordinance passes.
Resolutions held over. Are there any objections to any of these resolutions?
Believe,
yes. 37-123. Yes. Okay. 01111, authorize agreement with Design Force for an exhibit with the Gulf Quest National Maritime Museum. 08112, approve item-based bid for fire nozzles. 08113, approve item-based bid for fire bunker gear. 08114, approve purchase order to Sunbelt Fire for fire turnout coats and pants. 08116, approve purchase orders for fuel for the Wave Transit. 08117, approve purchase order to Toter for trash containers and lids. 09118, transfer funds from general fund to neighborhood development for Africa Town redevelopment. 21119, authorized contract with Canon Solutions, America for copier rental and support for Mobile Police Department. 31120, update the American Rescue Plan to allocate funds to various social services organizations. 31121, update the American Rescue Plan to allocate funds to the Boys and Girls Club of South Alabama.
Mr. President, sorry to interrupt real Is it possible that we can take 31-121 out of order and do it separately?
Okay.
Just take it out of the list and we'll do it separately.
Okay. 31-122, update the American Rescue Plan to allocate funds for small business assistance. And 61-24, authorize settlement agreement and release of claims.
So moved.
Second. Been properly moved and second. Any discussion?
Yes, sir, Mr. President.
Mr. Carroll, then Mr. Reynolds.
I've been talking all day. I can let Mr. Reynolds go first.
Mr. Reynolds.
Sure. This gets to some of Mr. Hill's comment as well. I'm glad he brought it up. So item 31-120, update the American Rescue Plan to allocate funds to various social services organizations. I want to thank the administration for recognizing the need that pertains to the camping and improper use of public property ordinance that I have on the agenda for March 2nd. And of the items listed, there are, I'm just going to read them out. This is $1.5 million. United Methodist Inner City Mission, $150,000. Mobile Area Interfaith Conference Incorporated. These are all aimed at disproportionately impacted clientele, $150,000. Franklin Primary Health Center, $173,450. The Food Pantry at Central, $205,600. Commonwealth CDFI, $250,000. So the lion's share of these ARP funds are being directed at this immediate public health and public safety concern that exists throughout our city. And I think this is a step in the right direction to further assist with these organizations that exist throughout our city that are trying to pull people into their systems, to pull them in. And I just ask that my colleagues see the need as I do, that we have these partners that are assisting to pull folks in. And it's our job, it's the city's job, to also give a push and a pull. So thanks again to the administration for seeing the need. I appreciate y'all's work on this.
Mr. Carroll.
Just so that it's plain to the citizens in Plateau, Africatown, there are two disbursements here today, both of $250,000 that all go out to the Africatown community coming from the city of Mobile to be partnered with the county in a food area where we had to tear down a building and other operational things that are needed in the community. A lot of times the community doesn't hear or see the help that they're getting from the city. So I want it to be plain and heard today that Africatown, you're getting $500,000 today on one hand. Also, you're getting another small disbursement on another hand to one of your descendants groups that actually comes from me personally, from district funds. So please note that in Africatown, you guys are getting quite a bit of help today from the city of Mobile and also from District 2 in the tune of $500,000 and also another $500,000 contribution.
And other council members.
Mr. President?
Yes, Mr. Penn.
31-121, allocating funds to the Boys and Girls Club of South Alabama. Because of my role in the organization from as a child to volunteer to a staff member, a great organization that's serving the community in the city of Mobile and in the South Alabama area, but I will be abstaining from that. And I just want to let that know publicly.
Madam Clerk, you pulled that out, correct?
I did.
Yes, so you can vote now.
Okay. Yeah.
Mr. President.
Just want to say it publicly.
Yeah, Mr. Jones.
Yeah, back to Mr. Reynolds' point, there are a significant number of folks that are receiving significant amount of funds to help different populations within the city. We've made a call previously requesting the city to come up with someone who can synchronize this and gain some efficiencies, and I would revisit that request and hope that we could get somebody on the city administration to sort of provide services and oversight to these and make sure that we are gaining efficiencies with these funds throughout the city and how they're being used. To address Mr. Hill's discussion on who gets how much money and where and why it goes, you know, this is ARPA funds, and there is a ton of regulations, federally, state, city, et cetera. This is not the city administration willy-nilly handing out this money. Some of the reasons folks have asked for requested funds and didn't get it, they weren't eligible because, you know, they were looking for construction funds, which doesn't apply. They don't qualify for money. They don't meet capacity requirements. They already have existing funding. The need for requests is identified in a different area, and so on and so forth. So there are a lot of reasons why folks don't get the funding that are not on the list, and I just want everybody to understand that those are regulated and mandated primarily from the federal government. So thank you, Mr. President.
Any other council members? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes.
31121, update the American Rescue Plan to allocate funds to the Boys and Girls Club of South Alabama.
So moved.
Second. And properly moved second. Any discussion?
Yeah, Mr. President.
Mr. Jones?
Yeah, I said in my announcements last week, I've had the opportunity to go visit one of these sites, and I'll tell you the work that they do is to be lauded and applauded. The youth that I talked to that are part of this facility have had their lives changed by this organization. So I wholeheartedly support this thing.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
Passes.
$37,123, consider approval of a certificate of public convenience and necessity to George Austin St. Clair, doing business as Mob City Rise, to operate a sedan service.
So moved.
Second. Been properly moved in second. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. President.
Mr. Reynolds?
I'd like to amend the resolution to allow this application only within the Hank Aaron Loop and for a period not to exceed 6 months. Second.
And then a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Mr. President, there's the amended versions on the notice, and it has what you said.
Amended versions on file with the clerk.
Right.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Going back to the original.
So moved.
Second.
It already.
No, yeah.
Well, I
Any
know
other
he said it was
discussion?
already there, but
Yeah. Any other discussion? Ms. Gregory?
no. I was
Oh.
just saying that Chris said that the amended version is already there, so do we have to go back to the?
They just did that.
So just vote, okay.
Any
Let's
other
vote.
discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes.
Consent resolutions being introduced, 40127 through 60. Consent resolutions being introduced, 40127 through 6137.
Move for immediate consideration of these resolutions and waive the rules in order to do so.
Second. Properly moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Madam Clerk?
40127, 128, 129, 130, 131 are fixing the cost for demolition of structures at 1567 Plover Street, 1025 Hannon Road, 2050 Stockton Drive, 1775 Pake Avenue, 4241 Furman Drive, 58132 declare weeds noxious, Weedling Group 1625, 6133 and 134 are determining appropriations to the Clotilda Descendants Association and Providence Foundation Festival of Flowers serve a public purpose and approve payment. 60, 135, 136, and 137 are approving awards of special bonus to Public Service Employee of the Month, Public Works at Large Employee of the Month, and Parks and Recreation Department Employee of the Month.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Consent resolution passes.
Resolutions being introduced, 21138 through 6149.
Per council rules, these resolutions will lay over for 1 week.
Call for public hearings. 41150, call for public hearing to rezone property located at 1451 Cedar Crescent Drive from R3 to R3 to remove conditions of the existing zoning amendment. Scheduled March the 8th. 41151, call for public hearing to rezone property located at the southwest corner of Ziegler Boulevard and North University Boulevard from R1 to B2, scheduled March the 8th.
So moved.
Properly moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Public hearing is called. Madam Clerk, did we go over CIP resolution?
That we moved that was supposed to be under regular.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Announcements.
All right, we're going to start with District 6, Councilmember Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. Heard a lot of great comments this weekend at the Senior Bowl. A lot of folks out there having a good time tailgating prior to the event. A lot of folks inside the stadium enjoying the game, both coaches, players, as well as fans. So what a great day to enjoy and celebrate this city, and it was good to be a part of that. Thanks to the Senior Bowl Committee for everything that they did to put our city on front and center stage. We started serving meals at the Connie Hudson Center yesterday, 1031 Meals, thanks to you. We'll actually be formally opening that next Wednesday at 10 a.m. at the Connie Hudson Center. We'll be doing a ribbon cutting, and I know that's a great event for the seniors as they enjoy getting together once again. So thanks to all who had a part in that and my colleagues for approving that contract. Thank you.
All right, District 2, Councilmember Carroll.
Thank you, Mr. President. On February 15th, we are meeting at the Harmon Park Recreation Center at 6 p.m. For members of District 2 and Beats. I think that's 12 and also Beats 15. We'll be discussing whatever presentation the administration has about the redistricting. I've also asked that members of the administration who handle revitalization, blighted properties be there to talk about the process, also how to purchase properties that are within the city's land bank and Nuisance Abatement Act, and how to get those back on the tax rolls. Also, members of the police department will be there to talk about public safety, and I've asked for the capital improvements project to be personnel to be there to talk about paving and what streets are going to be paved in that area. I continue to monitor what's going on with the dogs. I haven't heard an update this week, but hopefully we are still working to get these dogs caught. I know that the Polk Street dogs have been seen meandering around Midtown and also downtown in places. I heard they were actually on Dolphin Street downtown last week. But we are moving forward in our efforts to continue to clean up. I've been told also that there's a neighborhood cleanup on Chin Street. Master Chief, since you're sitting there, I would hope that you could help them a little bit out there with you guys' services. I'll give you a contact number later in the week so that you guys might be able to help with your vets program. Right now, Mr. President, I believe that is everything on the list of announcements, but the most important thing, again, is a District 2 meeting is scheduled for the 15th. It is open to everyone, including other council members and the members of the administration that would like to talk or be there. Thank you.
Okay, Councilman Joe Day, District 5.
No announcements.
Councilman District 1, Member Penn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to congratulate the Scarborough middle school basketball team for winning the middle school basketball championship that was held couple weeks ago. They did an awesome job representing District 1. I also want to give a big shout out to UMS Wright. They won the state champs, the boys and girls indoor track and field. That's also located in District 1. So we like to win in District 1. And so we also have a meeting coming up tonight at Dumas Wesley discussing the redistricting. It starts at 6 p.m. on 126 Mobile Street, Alabama 36602. So hopefully you'll come out and we can talk with myself and the administration as well. Thank you.
District 4, Councilman Reynolds.
No announcements.
Okay, and to District 3, as the mayor has stated earlier in his announcements, that we will have our meeting on tomorrow evening at the Christ Temple Apostolic Church, which is located on Virginia Street. There will be some changes in the lines for District 3, inviting all citizens of District 3 to please come out on tomorrow evening. Again, that will be at 6 o'clock p.m. at Christ Temple Apostolic Church. And as I had stated on last week, this month, February, is Black History Month. And on the 17th, we will be having a little small Black History program down at the DIP Sales Center. But last week I stated the reason why we have Black History Month, and I also highlighted one individual person from Mobile that made great strides throughout this whole community, with Dr. Kennedy. This week I'm looking at John LaFleur. And John LaFleur was born in Mobile, Alabama on May the 17th, 1903. Like most African Americans growing up in the Deep South at the beginning of the 20th century, LaFleur experienced many indignities, but LaFleur refused to accept the status quo. And for more than 50 years, he was the voice and the face of the civil rights movement along the Gulf Coast. LaFleur played a key role in the segregation of the Mobile public schools and changing the at-large election format in Mobile to ensure African Americans had a voice in government. After a confrontation with the police in 1925, LaFleur leadership during this time was inactive with the Mobile branch of the NAACP into one of the most productive branches in the state. He was named executive secretary and held positions until 1956. Skipping along throughout it, many more achievements he had done here in Mobile. Throughout the 1950s and 60s, LaFleur and the Nonpartisan Voters League brought hundreds of incidents of discrimination to light and lobbied for equality. In 1963, working with the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, LaFleur filed a suit to desegregate Mobile public schools. 34 years later, Bertie Mae Davis versus Mobile County Board of Education was found and dismissed, making it the longest running secondary school desegregation case in American history. In the early 60s, LaFleur successfully desegregated several downtown businesses, restaurants, and the city-owned golf course. Mobile desegregated process appeared to be on a smoother path than others Alabama cities. LaFleur was praised for leading a peaceful transition throughout such a turbulent time. However, LaFleur did not escape the terror tactics that many civil rights leaders experienced. In 1967, LaFleur's home was bombed. In 1966, LaFleur was one of the first African Americans appointed to the Mobile Housing Board. In 1973, LaFleur had made an unsuccessful bid for the United States Senate, but following the year, LaFleur and Gary Cooper became the first African American elected in the state legislation for Mobile since the Reconstruction. In addition to LaFleur's civil rights activities, he also supported and served on numerous organizations and committees. Some of the issues he worked on including prison reform, health and family planning, veterans' rights, labor union, and public education. Mr. LaFleur passed on January 31st, 1976. Again, another great Mobilian, not just for one particular race, but for all people of all kinds. And wish we had more people like LaFleur and others that brought peaceful demonstrations throughout the city of Mobile. And that's why he had been very recognized, by many people because of his homage. Do we have anything else from this council? Anything from the administration?
Mr. President, before you go,
Yes.
you skipped me.
Oh, Jesus, I'm sorry. Vice President, I apologize.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Just a few things from District 7. Last week, Ziegler Boulevard reopened after about a week and a half of being closed for some more drainage work, and they actually were able to open early. So many thanks to the project managers and everybody involved with the Ziegler Boulevard work. The first phase of the Ziegler widening, beginning at Schillinger going to Cody, is really coming along quickly and should be opening up soon for all travel. This is part of the mayor's first 100 days of achievements that he intends to do, so I look forward to hopefully a ribbon cutting of some sort over there, and then the continued progress on the second phase. The Senior Bowl over the weekend was a great success. I enjoyed being there, being a part of the great crowd. Everybody seemed to be in good spirits, and we had wonderful weather, which was really nice after so many days of a lot of wet and dreary weather. So thank you to everyone involved, and of course the Azalea Trail Maids were there and were recognized, so that was nice to see as well. But before I went to the Senior Bowl game, I was in Mobile Terrace for an event there, and I really want to thank Adrienne Edwards for all of her work. And I don't know if she's still here or not, but Adrienne set up the event. She is coordinating these events. They are bridging the gap between the community and law enforcement. She's part of the Moral Vigilantes Pursuing Progress, and it's just the acronym is MVBP. They have done, the one in Mobile Terrace made 6 of these marches throughout the community, and they can plan to do many more of those. So I just want to thank her and all of the residents who came out in Mobile Terrace for this march. We also had representatives there from the Mobile County Health Department who were giving vaccines, COVID vaccines as well. So a lot of great participation. The one other thing, a lot of people have contacted me about the traffic light at Cody and Ziegler, the timing on the traffic light at Cody and Ziegler, because it is an issue, and I agree with them. It is most definitely an issue. You can sit through 4 rounds of traffic lights turning red and green before you ever get a chance to move out onto Ziegler. I checked with Jennifer White, and the equipment is there to change this. They are just waiting until that widening there at the corner is completed before they get in and change the timing on that light, so that then people who are trying to use Cody Road as a way to get onto Ziegler or just go home from work, whatever the issue may be, can move, because this traffic light has been just a real problem and backs up traffic in both directions. So just a little more patience and that will be taken care of. And before I forget, just a shout out to Joe Snowden and his team for taking care of some rooster issues that we had. We've got some dogs running around too, but the roosters have been a real problem for some of the mayors, for some of the residents who live there. So thank you, Joe, for all of your work. And also a shout out to Jimmy Barber and Anitra Henderson for their work in putting together the redistricting meeting last night that we had. I know you have a big team who's been working through this, so thank you to everyone for bringing this to us, for providing the information, and really doing a terrific job, I think, in explaining things. So just thank you for that, and thank you to everyone who attended last night.
Okay, I apologize again, Vice President. Okay. Mr. Barber, did you have?
Yes, sir. Just 2 quick things. One of them, I was just going to point out that on 31122, which is the $2 million allocation to small business. So nearly 2 years ago is when we began the government shutdown because of COVID. So any of y'all that run into businesses that were greatly affected, that will allow through Commonwealth to be able to do small business loans that the businesses otherwise would not have been able to secure. And so thank you for that. The other one, just to follow up on the comments of Councilman Carroll, version 2.8 should be out this afternoon. I'll make sure that we have it on hardboard before we do the District 3 meeting, because it does impact Districts 2 and 3. And so everybody else can relax, because it does not impact your districts. And I can assure you, nobody will be more excited than Jim Barber to get this week over with. Thank you.
Mr. Barber, is this possible is there like a PDF explaining about this $2 million toward the small business?
We'll get, Anitra will get you all the information. We'll also be putting it up on our website too.
Yes, as soon as the contract is signed, we are doing a joint venture with Commonwealth to market this.
Okay. Ms. Carroll?
So the CDFI and the small business incentive, they're two separate entities, correct?
Correct.
Both at Commonwealth.
Both, yes.
Anything else from the administration? Council?
Motion to adjourn.
There's a motion, there's a second, in the discussion. I'd like to say, you pray for me, I'll pray for you, watch God change things. If not, all in
Aye.
favor of this meeting
Aye.
being dismissed? And opposed?